Hi guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. Welcome everyone to our stream. We're back for another video, and this is rating the new signings for this season, for the FPL season 23-24. So yeah, hope everyone's having a good start to the weekend. How you doing, Jordan? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good here. Thank you. Hope everyone else is having a nice weekend and enjoying. If you are watching the Women's World Cup, it's been eventful, but England are won 2 games in a row now. So yeah, they're on a good run of wins. But yeah, hopefully you're all doing well and you obviously enjoy this video.
Yeah, let's get into it then. Obviously, there's not long left now till the season actually begins. I think we're about 2 weeks out, aren't we? I think it's on the 13th. Sorry, the 11th. So less than 2 weeks now till the season starts, and we're getting closer to that game week 1 deadline. So yeah, let's bring up our teams. So not our teams, our players that we're going to recommend. So yeah, rating the new signings. First one up, let's discuss, and that is Christopher Nkunku of Chelsea. We know Chelsea actually signed him around January last, the start of the year. They bought him through bought him from Leipzig, and he only joined this summer. So yeah, he's a big signing really when you look at the players have come into the Premier League, and he's an exciting signing. I think if you're a Chelsea fan, I think he's one to watch definitely. Obviously, he's a forward this season, and he's priced at 7.5 million. So yeah, he's definitely one that I think I've been looking out. When I've been watching some Chelsea preseason matches, and he's been looking quite good. He scored a couple of goals as well. I think he's got 2 goals already in preseason so far, and yeah, in terms of, you look at his underlying numbers from last season. Now, these are the stats we've taken from his last season in the Bundesliga, so do bear that in mind. He's taking just over a shot on target a game. Shot creating actions as well, 4.65 per 90 minutes. He's getting a lot of just over 6 touches as well per 90 minutes as well. So yeah, he's a very exciting signing. I think he is a goal scorer as well. I believe if you can get up how many goals he scored last season, I believe he did get 15 plus in the league. He's a big threat. And yeah, he's also one of those players that can take players on and commit defenders. And yeah, he's just a good signing. And, we have to talk about the strikers, because a lot of us are going with Haaland, of course, because he's, you can't really go without Haaland. And I've seen a lot of drafts with Gabriel Jesus in. So 3-5-2 is quite popular with Haaland and Jesus. Have you considered other strikers, Jordan, namely Nkunku? I have seen him in a couple of drafts, but even his teammate, who will come on to later. But what do you make of Jesus as an 8 million forward, isn't he? Compared to other 7.5 million forwards like Nkunku, and are you gonna bring him into your team, or what's your thoughts on him?
Well, I think I want to see how he integrates into the Premier League first in Nkunku. As we see, Haaland straight away had no problems integrating in the new league. So we've got to take that in consideration as well. This player hasn't played in the Premier League before, so he's going to be a bit different to where he was playing previously in Leipzig. So, as well as Chelsea as well as a team, they haven't had the greatest the season before either. So this will be a massive test. I think a wait and see definitely for what Chelsea can do. And obviously, when Nkunku being a versatile player, like he does like to play on the wing, but he can also play in that striking position as well, as we most likely will see with Chelsea. I think that's what Chelsea were missing. Obviously, a striker that could obviously put goals in the net for them. So I think with Nkunku, you got that perfect puzzle piece that Chelsea have been missing, because he did score in Bundesliga 16 goals and got 4 assists in the last season for Bundesliga. So he is definitely a goal scorer that Chelsea definitely need, and he basically fits perfectly in that obviously in that position. So yeah, it's a brilliant new signing. I highly rate what he can possibly do for Chelsea, and obviously has his stats to back it up, as you see on the screen. He gets around touches in the opposition box last season for Bundesliga was about 6, so he is involved in those dangerous areas, and his successful take-ons, he's at least taken on one person and obviously getting past them. He's getting at least one shot on target per 90, and obviously he's creating shot chances is just under 5. So yeah, some interesting, decent stats put forward for Nkunku, and definitely an exciting transfer that Chelsea have made this season. And yeah, it'll be very exciting what he can do for Chelsea.
Yeah, of course. We also looked at our drafts in the previous videos, and obviously I've got Gabriel Jesus in my draft, but I am tempted with someone like Nkunku or even his teammate Jackson, who we'll come on to in a sec. But yeah, that's one to watch. I think as a signing, I do rate this signing. I do think he could become a great FPL option, especially from game week 3 onwards, because obviously the first 2 fixtures they've got Liverpool and West Ham, I believe, and after that the fixtures do turn. And they get slightly easier. So yeah, Nkunku definitely one on my radar for this season. Moving on to the next signing, and that is also another Chelsea player, and that is Nicholas Jackson. Obviously, the new signing for Chelsea. I don't actually know how many players Chelsea have signed. They've signed another player today for about 23 million, a 19-year-old. So they just seem to be buying players left, right, centre. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they integrate all these players. Nicholas Jackson has looked like a very good signing as well in preseason so far. Obviously, I've not watched too much of him. He's coming from Villarreal in the La Liga. And he did have a good season actually last year, a bit of a breakout year. And he is another very good signing, I think. I think Chelsea lacked goals. They've got rid of players like Havertz, etc., players like Ziyech, who weren't really working. Pulisic, they've got rid of him, and now bringing in Nkunku and players like Jackson, who I think are a big upgrade on what they had. So they could, if they hit the ground running, and if Poch can sort out a team that integrates these players, they could do well. So you take a look at Jackson, taking a 1.3 shots on target a game per 90 minutes. Also 5.24 touches in the opposition box. He's also another player like Nkunku that is in the final third. He does like to take a shot off. And he is very much involved in the attacking phases of play. So, yeah, I think this is another good signing. I think I was aware of this player. One of my friends actually mentioned this player to me in 2022, obviously last season, and said, watch out for this season. Obviously, he's gone and had a pretty good season for Villarreal. And obviously Chelsea have snapped him up. So, yeah, another good player. I think he's priced at 7.5 million as well, if I'm not mistaken. And, again, another player that could be a very nice differential. I'm just going to actually look at the ownership of Nicholas Jackson. So, do you know what it is, Jordan? Right, I've not got it up on the screen. I'm going to try bring it up because I don't think many people own him.
No, I think he's relatively low owned, Nicholas Jackson.
Okay, 7.8% for Nicholas Jackson. So very low ownership. Nkunku, surprisingly, obviously we've moved on from Nkunku, but his ownership is at 18%. So that is quite high. So maybe higher than I thought it'd be. So yeah, it's interesting. But Jackson, again, he's a player that I do think could be good this season. And depending on how Chelsea line up, I think he's another one to watch if you're going to take that punt on him. I'm assuming your thoughts are the same, though, on Nkunku and Chelsea assets in general, that you're personally waiting to see how they play out, how they do.
Yeah, I think it's also their positioning as well for Chelsea because Jackson is a forward. Obviously, he plays in that position, whereas Nkunku could probably play on the wing, but could also play as a forward as well. So it will be interesting to see where these players are positioned in the team, which we also have to consider with Chelsea as well, because they are buying more players, even though they've unloaded a lot of players. They seem to be going back on themselves, but it will be interesting to see how they fit these players in, as we've mentioned before. But with Nicholas Jackson, it's another example of a goal scorer that Chelsea definitely need and what they lacked last season. Because for La Liga, Jackson played about 26 matches for obviously Villarreal. He got 12 goals and 4 assists. He did get a red card in that season, but not really much to say about that. But yeah, he's another player that's a young player as well. I think he's 22 years old.
Yeah, I think he's 22, 23.
Yeah, so he's a nice young prospect for Chelsea to grow into that position in the forward. And yeah, it's definitely what Chelsea need as a goal scorer, which importantly, this is why they've brought these players in. So hopefully, these players can pay off, obviously, for Chelsea, who
Mhm.
have seen that have lacked goals in previous seasons. Again, his per 90 stats don't disappoint. Obviously, his touches, he gets about 5 touches in the box per 90. He creates shots about 2. He gets about 1 shot on target every per 90 match, and he takes on at least one person and is successful from that. So, yeah, another decent signing to look out for.
Mhm.
I don't really know much about Jackson. I've seen him a bit in pre-season, but I think he actually did score in one of the pre-season matches for
Yeah.
Chelsea. So he's already kicked off the mark for getting the goal with Chelsea.
Yeah. Also, just to add, he did play 26 matches in the league last year, and he got 12 goals and 4 assists. So 12 goals in 26 matches aren't too bad. They're not starts, I don't believe either. So not too bad in terms of goal return. 12 goals. So yeah, he's definitely one to watch again. And whether I start with him in game week 1, I very much doubt it. But yeah, could be a good option at that price bracket. You know, looking at 7.5 million, isn't he? Sorry,
7 million.
7 million. 7 million. So yeah, definitely in that 7 million bracket, he will be a consideration if he gets minutes. Let's move on to another player. But in general, I do rate this signing. I think this is a good one. But yeah, let's move on to another signing that we've got to talk about, and that is the new Spurs player. Obviously, uh, James Maddison has been transferred from relegated Leicester. Tottenham have managed to sign him for around 40 million. It's gone through, and I think looking at it, I think Spurs have done well to bring a player like Maddison in. You know, 40 million. They're not in the Champions League either, and they managed to bring him in. And I think Maddison. I know Leicester were poor last year. Obviously, they've relegated and they did struggle, but Maddison actually had a decent season last year in terms of numbers himself. I believe he got double figure the goals and assists, if I'm not mistaken.
He got 10 goals and 9 assists.
Yes. So yeah, 10 goals and 9 assists in the Premier League, which isn't to be sniffed at. You know, I think nearly got double digits for goals and assists. So he had a good season in terms of personal numbers. And you look at his stats per 90 as well. He's taken about a shot. He's getting a shot on target per 90 minutes in the Premier League last year. You know, he was also getting just over 5 shot creating actions per 90 as well, which is looks very good. He's involved in that build up in that attacking phase. He's also taken a decent amount of touches in the opposition box. His successful take-ons is also very good, 1.67. But yeah, also he's joining a Tottenham team with, Son potentially on the left, Kulusevski on the right, Harry Kane up top if he's still there. I think that looks like a nice little attack Tottenham are building now. And if Postecoglou can get them gelling together, if he keeps hold of Kane, they could have another good season. And Maddison kicking on, hopefully, along with the like of Son and Kulusevski, he could be a good option. And Maddison I think he's a 7 million midfielder, isn't he? Looking at his price, James Maddison. Is he 7 million, Jordan? 7.5. Yeah, sorry, just checked.
7.5.
7.5. His ownership is 13.9%. I just want to get your views on it. Obviously, watching Maddison last season, moving now to Spurs. Do you think he's a good signing for Spurs, and is it someone that we should be considering an IFBL team? He's only 7.5 million, so decent price.
Yeah, for a cheap midfielder option, he's definitely one to look out for. I think a few people with his ownership being at 13% have taken a bit of a punt to bring him in on the first fixture, which I think is Brentford. So
Yeah.
it's not the easiest fixture to bring Maddison in, but I think for Spurs it's a breath of fresh air. I think for obviously because Leicester were relegated and it looked bleak. It looked bleak for obviously Maddison, but because now he's a new signing for Spurs, who are obviously in the Premier League, it's an exciting times I think for Maddison. New beginnings with a new club, and obviously in that midfield, I think he could do really well. It just all depends on how many minutes and obviously how many matches he does starting, because I think he will be with obviously Kulusevski in terms of contention for that position, but we may see some different variety in that mix. But he's definitely a player that is attacking just from his stats. It just shows that. And He did have a pretty average season, obviously with 10 goals and 9 assists, but that is from just 30 matches that he did play last season, which is not too bad. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this signing. I think it's pretty good for Spurs to get Maddison in, and hopefully he can do well.
Also, looking at Spurs' previous match, they played a preseason friendly on Wednesday against Lion City Sailors. Spurs did come out on top, 5-1 winners, and they were playing a 4-2-3-1 formation. Kulusevski on the right, Son on the left, and Maddison in the hole. So it does seem like they can all play together. So it is an interesting proposition, definitely. Maddison in that 10 role with Harry Kane if he stays. So yeah, I'm excited for the signing. I think he is a good signing for Spurs, and definitely one that I think you might want to consider. What a comment here actually from Carl as well. Carl Valencia, welcome to the channel. I'm a Spurs fan. Steer clear. Our preseason has been a disaster. We have Brentford, Man United, Arsenal, four away games in the first 6. No new centre backs, so I can see spots doing really badly unless we get new players. And Kane's leaving. The Sailors were no better than a pub team. My thoughts on Spurs. I do hear the concerns of the Spurs fans because I know Sailors aren't the greatest of the opposition, obviously, and Spurs also had another game postponed due to the weather in the match before. So Spurs have had a bit of a disastrous preseason in terms of planning and preparation. So that does worry me slightly. I still think Maddison is actually a good signing, but the main worry with Spurs for me isn't scoring goals. I think they will score goals. However, it's the clean sheets and keeping players at the back. I wouldn't really bank on Spurs keeping any clean sheets, but I think they could be a good team going forward with goals if, obviously, they keep hold of Harry Kane. And seeing by your comments, you're obviously not keen, you're obviously not sure of Kane staying, but I do believe, I still believe Kane could stay, but we'll have to see, obviously, 2-3 weeks left between the season starts now, so we'll probably get clarity soon. But yeah, so there you go. Let us know your comments as well, guys, about James Maddison or any of the players we mentioned as well in the chat. And also, if you are enjoying the content, please make sure you smash the like button and make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel as well. A lot of content to come this season. Let us move on actually then to the next player on the list, and that is obviously Arsenal's new signing, Kai Havertz. Arsenal have signed Kai Havertz for 65 million from Chelsea. What's your initial reaction, Jordan, to when this signing happened? And what's your thoughts on the player? What's your thoughts on the signing? Are you surprised? Did you like the player? Give us your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm surprised at this signing. I never actually saw this coming for Arsenal to bring in Kai Havertz, but yeah, it has happened. Obviously, for Chelsea, Kai Havertz didn't really have a great season. I mean, in his 35 matches he played, he scored 7 goals and got 1 assist, but I would say that's pretty good in terms of how Chelsea were last season. But again, it was a difficult season, I think, for Kai Havertz to get involved and obviously be clinical with the bloated team that Chelsea did have. But I think for Arsenal, it's a new start for Kai Havertz. Maybe he can get back on the bandwagon in terms of playing more matches instead of being benched here and there for teams. But it is going to be hard to fit Kai Havertz in the team potentially because of what Arsenal's assets there. But I still think he could play maybe other competitions. Maybe he gets involved in
Sorry, what were you saying?
So obviously he gets involved more in the Champions League type football where they obviously have important matches to play in those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting transfer to make. I mean,
yeah, I'm looking at obviously last season. He played 35 times in the Premier League and he got 7 goals. So it's not the greatest of returns. Only 1 assist as well. And also in the Champions League last year, he did get 2 goals in 10 matches. So we also know about Kai Havertz's struggles at Chelsea, and he was lacking in terms of that finishing touch in terms of the goals. That's the reason why Chelsea have, assumingly, moved him on to buy players like Nkunku, etc., who are more clinical, it seems. In my opinion, in the overall signing, I'm not so sure about the signing, if I'm being honest, guys. I wasn't the biggest fan of Kai Havertz at Chelsea. I brought him into my team a couple of times in double game weeks, etc. But overall, as a signing out of FPL, I'm not convinced. I think he's got a lot of proving the doubters wrong. I think next season, however, people will be watching him. He's coming in for big money. I think Chelsea have done well to get 65 million for him. But in regards to FPL, I think he could be a good option. But then Arsenal have so many options as well. You look at, Jesus, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli. You probably want one of the defenders like Gabriel or Saliba. So in terms of differentials, though, I think Havertz can become an option because I'm taking a look at his ownership right now. His ownership is 5%. So he's very low owned and not many people will be going for him, I think, because of Saka, Martinelli and Odegaard, etc. So if he does get minutes, obviously Xhaka has left now to Leverkusen. So if Havertz plays in that left-sided 8 role, and he might do well there. But it's interesting to see where Arteta plays him. Is he a rotational player? Is he going to start from the off? Because Partey looks like he's going to stay. So is Rice going to play in the 8 position? So I'm not so sure. So Havertz, I'm not convinced with the signing. However, as an FPL asset, as a differential, and you want to be different, I think he could be still a good pick, depending on if he becomes a regular starter. But yeah, that's my main thoughts on Kai Havertz, really. I think he's got a lot to prove next season in terms of being that focal point, getting goals and assists, and becoming productive in terms of his numbers. But you take a look at his stats per night, they're actually not too bad. He is getting involved in the attacking phases of play. He's taking over nearly 6 touches per box in the opposition box. 1 shot on target per 90 minutes, 2.2 shot creating actions as well per 90. So the underlying numbers aren't too bad, but it's a new role for him at Arsenal, I think, where they play him, especially if it's in midfield, replacing Xhaka. Xhaka did score, I believe, 7 goals himself last season as well. But yeah, those are our thoughts on Kai Havertz. Let us know what you think of Kai Havertz signing to Arsenal, whether you think it's a good signing or not. Let us know in the chat, guys. Carl Valencia also says, are you setting up an FPL Duo League? Yes, we do have a league already. So, the link for the league is in the description below. If you go on the YouTube description, you should see our league code on there. Make sure you guys do join. All the information is in the comments below. So do check that out and make sure you do join, guys. If it should be a good one. Let's move on then from Kai Havertz to another signing. That is Liverpool's new signing, and that is actually Dominic Szoboszlai, who Liverpool have signed from Leipzig as well, from same team as Christopher Nkunku. Leipzig have let 2 of their big players go, obviously, and Szoboszlai is an exciting signing, I think, if you're a Liverpool fan. And we know Liverpool have let a lot of their players leave. There's been a bit of a major clear out in the midfield. Liverpool have let go the likes of Henderson, that's confirmed. Fabinho's pretty much out the door as well. Naby Keita's gone. Oxlade-Chamberlain's gone. Milner's gone. Carvalho's gone out on loan. I'm sure I'm missing someone I left out. Keita, Hendo, Milner, Fabinho, Carvalho. I've got 6 right there. There must be someone else. Let us know in the chat, guys, if we left anyone out. But Liverpool have had a clear out in midfield. And we know Liverpool struggled last season, obviously finishing 5th in the Premier League. And we know they had major issues in midfield. And, not to my surprise, they've got rid of most of them and have brought in Szoboszlai, and McAllister has also joined. And Liverpool are on the verge of signing, I think, Lavia from Southampton. So let's talk about Szoboszlai. So we know he's coming from, again, the Bundesliga. And we take a look at his stats, actually. I want to see how many goals he got last season. I do believe he got, just looking here, I think he got, was it 3 goals and 2 assists? I think it was. Sorry, no. 6 goals and 8 assists in the league he did get. And he also got 3 goals in the cups. But if you just take a look at the league, 6 goals, 8 assists for a midfielder isn't too bad. Now, for those that haven't watched much of Szoboszlai, obviously I've watched a lot more of him. I've done a lot more research on him because obviously he signed for Liverpool. And if I have to compare him to a player, he likes operating in just outside the penalty box. He's a very attacking player, attacking midfielder. He does like to take a lot of shots. He's one of those players that will take an effort from long range and try to score. So you take a look at his stats. He is very much involved in the attacking phases of play. One shot on target per 90, 5.52 shot creating actions per 90 as well, very high. 2 touches in the opposition box as well per 90 minutes, and also 1.95 successful take-ons per 90 minutes. And yeah, from what I've watched of Szoboszlai, he is a very technical player. Again, as I mentioned, he likes to dribble, he likes to take on a player, and he definitely has a very good shot on him. And another thing to consider with Szoboszlai is, will he take set pieces off Trent? Because he is also another specialist in free kicks and corners. So that's one to watch what happens with Trent if he does replace him, because he is a very good free kick taker, and he also likes to take corners. He has a very good shot on him as well. So he's in that sense. So yeah, I am excited for this signing. I do rate this signing. And in terms of FPL, again, I'm not sure I'll consider him, but we'll move on to get your thoughts on him, Jordan. As a Liverpool asset, he is priced at 7 million midfielder. What's your thoughts on it when you compare other Liverpool assets as well, Dominic Szoboszlai?
He's a player from his stats. He prefers to assist, obviously, goals. He did get 8 assists, more than what he scored. So he's definitely a player that could potentially, for Liverpool, get a lot of assists if he does get a lot of game time in his midfield position. In terms of midfield options, though, that he has to compete with, he has got Luis Diaz, Diego Jota, and potentially McAllister, who's also a new signing for Liverpool as well. So yeah, there is a bit of competition in that midfield, but I think he can obviously integrate himself into that really well, as we've seen with previous signings for Liverpool, like Luis Diaz. When he signed for Liverpool, instant response, definitely a better response from Liverpool overall from a player like that. So maybe we see something similar for Dominic. But at the same time, though, for Hungary, the country he plays for, obviously his home nation, he is the captain for Hungary team. So he potentially has that commanding role in the midfield too, potentially for Liverpool. So he's a player that could take a bit of communication, leadership, control in that midfield. So he is a player definitely to keep your eyes on. And for the price at 7 million, it may be another cheap differential to go for in your fantasy team if you're able to fit in a Liverpool midfielder like him.
Yeah, of course. We know when you talk about Liverpool, the most popular picks are Salah and Trent. I think those are the two you'll try to fit in. Obviously, they are quite expensive. Me personally, I'm not going to start with Szoboszlai, but I think later down the line, I do think he's going to play a lot of games, personally. I don't know if he'll start game week 1 against Chelsea, but you take a look at that midfield, there's not much there in Liverpool's options. They've got Harvey Elliott, who might play on that right side, but with the money Liverpool have spent on Szoboszlai coming in at 65 million or 60 million it was, I do believe he'll play a lot of games along with McAllister and then whoever they sign in the DM position. So, yeah, I think it's a good signing, and I will definitely be bringing him into my team potentially later down the line this season, depending on how I see, how he fits into the team. But let us know your thoughts, guys, on Szoboszlai and Liverpool, new signing. Moving on then swiftly to the next player on our list, and that is Newcastle's new signing. And that is Sandro Tonali. Obviously, Newcastle have signed him from Serie A. And again, an interesting signing. You take a look at... Now, let's speak about Tonali. So, if we're looking at Tonali's stats from last season, I mean, he's not really a player that's known for scoring goals. So you probably wouldn't want him in your team for that. He only scored 2 goals in the league last season in the Serie A for Milan. So, scoring goals is not his strength. He did, however, get 7 assists. So he's more of a creative player than someone that's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Taking a look at his price, I believe he's priced at 6 million. He's priced at or 5.5. Sorry, 5.5. My bad. So he's someone that I think he's a decent player, but again, he's coming from the Italian league, and some of the players that have come over from the Italian league in recent years haven't really hit the ground running, if I'm being honest. So he's someone that I'm not looking at. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have him in my game week 1 team, but it's just an exciting signing for Newcastle, I guess, and someone we've got to speak about. He's not someone that's going to get you got many goals, so that's why he doesn't appeal to me. He's more of a controlling type player. He likes to pass, create some chances, as you can see from his shot creating actions, which is 3.35. He's more of a build up player. So he's not someone I'm considering. But yeah, I don't know if you watched much of him, Jordan. But I mean, he's at 5.5 million. He's not someone we'll probably consider. But you rate the signing, or what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a decent signing for Newcastle. I think that rather than going with the attacking options that they could go for, I think their attack is pretty much fine for Newcastle. But I think in terms of Sandro Tonali, he's more of a player that plays mainly as a defence or central midfielder. So he plays like a deeper role. Yeah. And I think that's what he'll play for Newcastle, playing that deeper role for them. And also, providing balls to obviously the midfield in attack rather than being part of the attack for Newcastle. So I think he's a holding player for Newcastle. He's an interesting one. I think it's just to bolster that defence maybe a little bit in that midfield, where it depends on where he plays in terms of his position. But he is flexible in that defensive and sort of central midfielder role. So yeah, interesting sign for Newcastle.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. He's a bit more of a deeper lying player. So he's not someone that would get in our FPL teams, if we're being honest. He's not someone that's going to get you goals. You rather bring in Bruno Guimaraes, probably more likely to score from midfield. And the likes of, we know what player like Isaac, etc. in the forward line is where I'd rather get my Newcastle assets from. But Newcastle do have quite a tough start to the season. So in general, we'll probably be avoiding some of their players. But let us know your thoughts, guys, on Newcastle and their signing Tonali. Do you rate the signing or not? Moving on to another pick, and I think this is the last one. So, and that is new Manchester United number 7, and that is Mason Mount. Now, Mason Mount, let's discuss this one. I mean, he's an interesting signing because obviously, we were speaking about Mason Mount actually a few months back, and I thought he was going to go to Liverpool because Liverpool were linked quite heavily with Mason Mount. However, he has gone to Manchester United, and last season playing at Chelsea, we know the struggles of Mason Mount and Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea struggling, and I did think that did impact Mason Mount as well. However, Mason Mount, when he did play, I mean, you take a look at his last season, which doesn't really do him any favors at all. It's probably his worst season as a Chelsea player, because he was Chelsea Player of the Year, I believe, a couple of years ago, when they did win the Champions League. But you take a look at his Premier League stats. He played 24 times in the league last year. He only got 3 goals and 2 assists, which isn't great compared to the 21-22 season where he got 11 goals and 10 assists. So he got double digits the season prior to last season, and then this season that just went, big drop off in performance, and that you could tell by his stats. It's 0.4 shots on target per match, 3.11 shot creating actions as well. Successful take-ons is down as well considerably compared to 2 years ago. So he added it. We know Mason Mount has struggled last season, but however, we know Chelsea struggle as a whole in general. He has got a big move to Manchester United, obviously that £60 million deal. What's your thoughts on Mason Mount? Obviously, because you weren't the biggest fan of him at Chelsea. Was he signed for Man United now? Obviously, your team. Mason Mount looks like he's playing in a midfield 3 along with Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. What do you make of the signing, first of all, and as an FPL option as well?
I'm proper relieved at this signing because I think the midfield we had with Fred and McTominay wasn't really working. As we did see with Fred, he was a bit on and off with good and bad matches, and then obviously McTominay being the same. I think this new signing, Mason Mount, is like probably the puzzle piece that's been missing, I think, in our midfield. And I think that just completes it with Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in there as well with him. But yeah, I'm very excited to see Mason Mount at the start of the season. I mean, he's wearing the iconic number 7 as well shirt. So yeah, some big boots to fill in for those for that number 7 role. But in terms of a positioning, he's like a midfielder that does like to track back and tackle the ball to win it back, and obviously plays forward and breaks forward when the opportunity arises. So I think we're going to see that a lot for Manchester United, where obviously he's in where we see Bruno do similar things. I think Mason Mount's basically going to be that second, maybe that Bruno that can potentially change obviously the aspect of the game if it's not going the way it should be. And obviously we needed more bigger named players in that midfield other than Bruno, because he did a lot of the work last season, especially playing all these matches for Manchester United and also for other competitions. But yeah, Mason Mount definitely 60 million signing. One of the most expensive, I think, this signing window that transfer window's had. So yeah, it is going to be interesting how Mason Mount does for Man United. But I think he did have personal issues at the same time being at Chelsea, which didn't really help him. So I think coming to a new club like Manchester United is going to be a relief from Mason Mount, a new start, a new beginning. Hopefully he can get on better with the club.
Yeah, I agree with quite a lot you said. Obviously, Mason Mount is going to be playing in midfield. Fred looks like he might be off. McTominay looks like he might be off as well. So there is going to be that slot in that left-sided 8 role, assuming Man United play the 4-3-3. Mason Mount is also quite a versatile player. He can play in the front three on the left side. He can cut in. He's also done bits on the right. So Ten Hag might do that in a couple of matches, play him in the front three as well, along with the midfield. So one to watch. I don't think I'm going to have him in my team starting game week 1. I think players like Bruno and Rashford are obviously the main popular picks. Then you've got Luke Shaw as well. Onana is in a lot of drafts. So Mason Mount isn't in our plans, I don't think, in terms of an FPL option at the start. But if he starts the season off well and he's involved, if we see he's getting involved in the attack and getting goals and assists, then he might become an option at 7 million. So yeah, let us know what you guys think as well of the signing of Mason Mount to Man United. Are you guys excited for the signing? If you're a Man United fan, let us know in the comments below. And if you are enjoying the content, guys, as always, make sure you do smash the like button, as it helps the channel out massively. And every like helps push the content out. So yeah, like the stream, and also if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. A lot of content to come. We're going to be streaming 2-3 times every week, and it's a big season for us. We want to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark next as well. So do share this video as well on your socials, on your Twitter, on your WhatsApp, whatever you use, and get the word out of the FPL Duo. Let's read a few comments. We've got Uchiha Dan. If Kane leaves, Richarlison at 7 million is a good shout. Yeah, I think it's a good shout as well. If Kane does leave, Richarlison, I believe, scored 2 goals in the last preseason game. So yeah, he's an option, especially as a midfielder. I think he's as well. So extra point. Is Porro a bad shout? And we'll actually get onto this question. And who's the best 5 million defender besides Gabriel and Estupiñán? I'll let you take that one if you want to.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy question. Who the best 5 million midfielder can be besides Gabriel and Estupiñán? It'll be probably one of the Man City defenders, I'd say, like maybe Ake, Akanji, or Walker. But I think Kyle Walker is leaving, so let's just say Ake or Akanji, I think, is the next best 5 million midfielder you could potentially go for.
Yeah, I do like a Man City defender. If you can squeeze him in, obviously Ake is 5 million. Saliba is also 5 million if you want to stay at Arsenal. There's Sven Botman at 4.5 million, who I do like, but again, his fixtures aren't great, so you probably don't want to play him at the beginning. Maybe a bench option. I think he's one of the better 4.5 millions nailed to start in Newcastle's defense. Tyrone Mings is 4.5 again. Fixture Newcastle game week 1, so you probably don't want him after that. But then fixtures do get a bit better than that afterwards. So Tyrone Mings could be a decent option around that 4.5. Ake, again, you mentioned him. Akanji, both of those are solid options. If you want a Man City asset. Pau Torres is a new signing made by Aston Villa, a decent centre back under Emery as well. Potentially could be good. So he's at 4.5 playing Aston Villa. But I do like the Arsenal picks. I think Gabriel, he's nailed. He's going to play every game pretty much. I'm looking at who else there is really. But I think that's where I'd be going really. Maybe the Man City assets I'd want somewhere like that. Personally. Yeah.
I think to start off the season at least, from the very beginning, you'd want a Man City defender from the 5 million defensive choices.
Yeah. Also, Konate at Liverpool is 5 million as well. Konate playing in that right side as centre back role at Liverpool now. He's a good option. Again, with Liverpool, it depends. Do you see many clean sheets at the start for Liverpool? I don't know. I'm not sure. Possibly. You know, they've got Chelsea. They've got. That's the thing with Liverpool's defenders. I'm not sure how many clean sheets I see in Liverpool, if I'm being honest. The defender that sticks out to me is Trent for the attacking returns. If you look into clean sheets, I think Man City is the way potentially, because I do think they are the best defensive team in the league, and I'd want to have one of the assets. But obviously, Colwell again is a decent option at 4.5 million, very cheap. And Chelsea do have some decent games after game week 2, and it's an easy way, cheap way into the Chelsea defense, assuming Colwell starts for Chelsea at the start of the season. But yeah, one to watch. Colwell at 4.5 is a good option as well. And he wasn't in one of my drafts, actually. For those that didn't watch, make sure you do go back and watch our previous videos where you can see our drafts and what we're currently thinking of going into the season with. And is Porro a bad shout? Now, obviously, Pedro Porro last season did score a couple of goals, and he's actually a defender that I don't think is the worst shout in the world, if I'm being honest. So he's 5 million, so he could be a good option at 5 million, I think. He also got 3 goals and 3 assists last season, which isn't too bad. In only can't remember how many matches he played, but he did get 3 goals, 3 assists, which is quite good considering Spurs weren't the greatest last season. And I think he's a decent option. He's only selected by 4% of managers, and so he's a good differential if you don't want to go into Man City and go with one of their defenders because of attacking potential. Porro definitely will get you some attacking threat. However, the clean sheets is the worry with Spurs. I don't expect too many clean sheets with Tottenham to start. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad shout, not at all. But yeah, if anyone's got any other questions, do drop it in the comments below. But in regards to anything else, let us know. But we're probably going to wrap it up here soon, I think. Just want to say as well, we actually have a Discord now. So if you guys haven't joined our Discord, there, I believe I put it in the link in the description below. If you want to join our Discord, where you can chat to us, chat with our community, all the members, make sure you do join our Discord. It's trying to get it up and running now. So yeah, do check the link out in the description below. Also follow us on our socials. They're at the top: Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, YouTube is here. Subscribe, like the stream, and yeah, we're probably gonna take a few more questions. What do you think of Bernardo Silva, Jordan? Obviously, at Man City, rumored to leave, but it looks like he's going to stay.
I thought he was leaving as well. I don't know, actually. I haven't really considered that because I thought he was leaving.
6.5 million as well. 6.5 million. Got 4 goals, 6 assists last season.
I don't know, because I would prefer probably Foden or Grealish on those wings rather than Bernardo, who plays mostly, would probably play central midfield.
Yeah, and the rotation does worry me if he's going to start game week 1. Probably will, but again, a lot of options that Man City have. Obviously, Man City probably will buy some more players as well. I think they'll have a few more incoming, especially now Mahrez has left. So they might buy another one. We'll have to wait and see in the market.
Yeah.
Also, Jordan, best 4.5 million keeper. I think we'll take this as the last question.
There's not really that much choice for you. You got Leno, it's 4.5, decent goalkeeper. I think he's popular in the picks. Pickford as well, 4.5 goalkeeper for Everton. But other than that, I'm trying to think who else is a 4.5.
Flecken, obviously at Brentford, but I don't know how popular he's going to be.
I forgot Still. If he starts as a Brighton goalkeeper, he's probably the best one, I think, in terms of fixtures that Brighton do have. But again, do you want a goalkeeper from Brighton, considering their fixtures? Yeah,
Pickford, obviously, Fabianski if he gets game time, but it looks like Areola is going to start again. I think he started today, so it looks like he's going to be the first choice goalkeeper at 4 million, which could be decent. I think Pickford, Leno, Flecken, and if you want to go Brentford, looks like Flecken is going to start instead of Raya. And Brentford's fixtures aren't too bad at the start, to be honest. Flecken could be a good option. I know he's not looked as good in preseason, but yeah, I think those are the ones we'll be looking at. I've got even Onana potentially. I know he's not 4.5, but Onana's 5 million at Man United, so could be decent. But yeah, that's it from us, guys. We are going to wrap it up here. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has watched the stream. If you've enjoyed the content, please drop a like on the video, and we will see you again probably now next week for another video, and then after that it'll be back to normal schedule for team selection, deadline streams, all that stuff. If you do want to watch, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any content. Thank you, Uchiha. You also have a good evening. So anything else you want to add, Jordan, before we do head out?
That pretty much all covers it. I hope everyone has a nice weekend. Obviously enjoy the rest of your week, and yeah, take care, and we will see you very soon for the next video.
Yep, take care, guys, and see you soon.